Mario Bros. 3 is one of the best games on the NES, and actually is widely regarded as one of the greatest games of all time. Came out 1990 on the NES in America, and it's quite an evolution on the series, I must say.
Yes, definitely. It's introduced these brand new map system that you could navigate the worlds through, and created all sorts of variety for a lot of people. You could have all these different power-ups. You had the Tanuki suit, the raccoon suit, of course the classic flower from Mario Brothers 1. But, you know, it just became an entity of its own. I mean, a lot of people even consider it better than the original Mario Brothers.
Yeah, it just had a lot of things to it. Like, even in the overworld map, there's like mini games you could play, and like you even had like an inventory system, which is kind of crazy to think about for a platformer. But you could like store mushrooms and leaves and all that stuff. So that was kind of handy going into a stage and need a little help.
Yep, definitely. Of course, the one of the major differences that you notice is the airships. When you first get to a castle, you're treated to a distressed Princess Peach, who is screaming about how the king has turned into some nasty animal, usually a snake or something like that. And it's your job to go up in the airship, fight the Koopaling, or Koopa Kid, and get the wand back so you can change the king back to his original form. And that was all kinds of cool because it added more variety to the whole game as a whole.
Yeah, some of those airships were a little bit devious, though. I mean, there's like cannons everywhere, and then like there was like these little screw things that you jumped on that like moved, and I always have trouble with those.
Another interesting fact is the warp whistles.
Yeah, everybody knows about the warp whistles. How can you not?
How can you not know about the warp whistles? Mario Brothers is the warp whistles. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people nowadays that don't even know what Worlds 2 through 7 even look like. So, you know, that's the unfortunate part of the warp whistles. But Mario Brothers 3 is a great game that deserves to be played, you know, many times over. So
yeah, the funny thing about the Mario series is like pretty much everybody knows about the warp whistles. So I mean, a lot of people only play through like the couple different worlds in the game, but they still think it's awesome and they still get enjoyment out of it. So I mean, I guess there's like that whole other game though. If you're like really hardcore, you could just go through the whole game, and you know, it's pretty difficult actually if you go through all the levels. But it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny, and it's kind of cool though. I think there are more made though, because there wasn't a whole battery save system. That was kind of unheard of back then. So it was an easy way to get between worlds if you want to continue later. So I mean, it's pretty cool.
Right. And another thing the Mario series has always been famous for is its music, and Mario 3 is no exception. I mean, I can find myself many times just humming the Grassland music and humming the other parts of the game, mainly the like the first level music, things like that.
Yeah, there's plenty of good tunes in there. I mean, after the first one, I mean, everyone knows the classic doot 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 music, you know. But then you get Mario 3, and it's like, oh, they got some other memorable music in there. So I mean, they really pushed the bar.
Koji Kondo is a genius.
Hell yeah.
Another great thing about Mario 3 is you could play through the whole game cooperatively with whoever was sitting next to you. They could sit down, play as Luigi, and you were good to go. And you could even battle if you wanted to.
Yeah, that was a good improvement over the first game, because in the first Mario, you know, if someone was really good, they could just go through the whole game before the other person even gets a turn, and that's kind of a weird decision. But in 3, it's like you take turns, you know, you do a level, the other person does a level, so you don't get that. Like, I know when I play with my mom in the first Mario, and because that's like one of the only games I can get her to play, but I play with her, and it's like, I always make her like play alone now, because I don't know, I could like fly through the levels, and then she like dies, and then, can't play anymore.
Besides the NES version, it was also remade on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, that, I don't know, at first I was like, you know, kind of not this. I don't know. I get this nostalgia thing where I like the original versions of stuff, but actually, like for instance, Super Mario Bros. 3 looks quite a bit better on the Super Nintendo.
Right. Find it in the All Stars version. You could even, and that featured saving your progress, so that was an improvement over the NES version. Ways to find this game now: you're going to have to look for it on the Nintendo Wii Virtual Console. That seems to be the only way to get it net right now, and it's definitely worth your $5. I think it's $5. So don't hesitate.
$5.
Well, yeah, it's probably the best $5 you'll ever spend, and on this little gem. So do whatever you can to play Mario 3 if you haven't.
Right, if you're an avid retro game player, and I don't know, if you haven't played this, then you're not an avid retro game player. But if you just need to own it in your collection if you like any of those classic games, because it's probably the pinnacle.
Definitely. It's defined many childhoods. It defined mine, even though I initially wanted 2 over it. But yeah, that's a whole other story. Definitely, Mario 3 deserves a spot in Legends. It's one of the best games ever, if not the best. And it was perfect by every sense of the word.
Yep. Well, this concludes this episode of Legends, and I hope you enjoyed.
Yes, we shall see you next time.